laboratory, a multidisciplinary practice based in Borneo in Malaysia. And she also works as a visiting scholar in Fine Chai University in Taiwan. In her research, let's say pedagogical direction, she and also her team focuses on embedding social culture dialogue informing architectural innovation. She developed part of her career with Foster and Foster, and she also qualified as lead green associate. Teo's projects were endorsed by a number of international awards, such as Holcim Sustainable Next Generation Award, Archiprix, Threadneedle Prize, and many others. At the same time, her projects were exhibited across UK, France, Germany, Turkey, Taiwan, and I don't know if I am missing any other places. Also, in 2018, Teo was nominated by British Council as a fellow in Woman of the Future for the Southeast chapter. So, well, after this short presentation, I'm glad to welcome Wendy Teo and her lecture, Curating Architecture. Thank you, Wendy, for being here with us today, particularly at this time that, considering the difference, it means 2:30 a.m. for you. So thank you. And please, so whenever you want, you can start. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction. So without further ado, maybe I can just kickstart the lecture, the seminar. So I want to start this entire lecture with a recent story we had with our situation. And we call this situation like rethinking public relation. And I want to explain you what happened. So maybe I can start from also a story of our previous space. So this is the look of our previous space from 2018 until 2020. So that is the space of Borneo Lab. So it was renovated from a residential house into an art space. So it was basically situated in a residential area. Yeah. So it was visited and by the local a lot, because of the activities we have. But from time to time, because of the activities, we had tend to attracted the crowd. And I think over the years we kind of developed a reputation that we are the crazy group in the community. So then every time when we do something, like there were a lot of people came, and we started the first site-specific theater in the town. And also we started a series of activities that allow exhibition performances. So from time to time, when such a building visited simultaneously by more than 100 people, it will create a big traffic to the area, the neighborhood. So there was a lot of complaint probably launched against me, in the police station nearby. So we decided back in our mind, we knew that at one point we need to move to a bigger space. And but maybe I can also start from our little history of Borneo Lab. So we started as a online documentation since 2017 when I was still working as an architect in Foster office. Yeah, so with the crowdfunding resources. And back in the days, I already knew that at one point we need to be fluent with the crowdfunding, with the online resources. And in the same year, 2017, we launched our publication departments. I will speak a little bit about that. And in 2019, we released our second book, also with the crowdfunding resources. And then it was until 2018, we started to have our tangible space and also platform. And then with a tangible space, of course, we are able to do a lot of research workshop, art performances, and also for the first time, we managed to kind of put together the art residency program to allow different people to come in and do some collaboration. So then that was the point that I think it was a very big pivotal point that we can start doing urban discourses with art and architectural field. So 2020, like there was some a building like came to us like Ting and Ting supermarket, and Ting and Ting supermarket was named after the Ting family. But 2019, like I think it was the fourth quarter of 2019, it was a shutdown. So all of a sudden, this is a building with a long history because it was already existed back in the British Empire time. So we thought like it could be a perfect opportunity for us to turn it into an art hub. But then COVID happened. So it was a close route for us because like we are at the we are kind of like at that point of like making a decision whether we should go back online or we should stay offline. Yeah, because we knew like, with a tangible space, there's a lot of things that we can do. But at the same time, like if we stay online, actually it will be like less overhead and also less like undertaking in so many aspects. But then we knew that like by the time we kind of like went back to the normal, like after the lockdown, we will need to answer our landlord whether we are going to commit to the space or not. Yeah, but so we decided to do some like investigation exploration on our own. So with Borneo Lab, we every year we have the reading retreat. Like there's one of the month of the year we were dedicated for pure reading. So that was the time that like during the lockdown we thought we might as well just being productive with it. So we kickstart our reading retreat online. Like normally we will do it, in the remote jungle or like Wi-Fi-less area. But then like there was the time that we decided to kind of put everything online, and then we set out the thematic topic like to discuss with people from different part of the world. So in one part of the reading club, we spoke about the mission of art. Should it be like aesthetically pleasing or contextually meaningful or a safe haven for transdisciplinary experimentation? So all these things that like mentioned by the art critic or the philosopher in the past is kind of like only makes sense when you have a tangible platform or space to manifest something meaningful. And there's another book that came across to us like in the reading retreat was Trust Me, PR is that, public relation is that. So it was written by Robert Phillips, and this book like it's very interesting because it was also crowd funded, and with this book it spoke about like public leadership, and public leadership in the contemporary days is enable the progressive corporatism. And with this kind of like progressive corporatism, you need to have the progressive goal, which means like asking the bigger question, and also the progressive value, like you put the citizen before the capital, and progressive practice, like so the entire corporation is as a social movement. And of course also the progressive like communication, you focus on the action rather than words. So, and for us we thought like is make a lot of sense. And in this era of Anthropocene, it is probably the time to install a thinking organ within the community. Therefore, think and think, and can we encourage the city to connect widely, think deeply, and act daringly? So that was the artistic statement of the building. So we decided to take the space and rename it into Think and Think rather than the Think and Think supermarket. So people still remember it, like the name, the sound of it, but at the same time is encourage people to come and do collaboration. But can we make it safe? Can we make it work? And can we also address our presence from there? So we knew that like with all these questions, we will need to rethink the contact and circulation. And then at the same time, rethinking about the model of participation in operation. And of course, also addressing the present through the planning and strategy and events. So we knew that like in terms of the entire planning, we need to do it differently. So with a conventional architectural planning model, I'm sure that like all of us familiar with, like it's always start from a design and planning. And after that, like once it's approved by maybe a single client, like either or government or organization, like then we go on and construct it. And after the construction, like once we receive the OP, we call for the tenancy. So we're allowing people to come and use the building. Like after we have that, and after that we do the after we set out the tenancy pallets, we start the operation, and then we're getting the crowd feedback. But when things goes wrong, we go back to square number one. So we knew that in our planning model, we need to do it differently because we can't afford during this time, like this very unprecedented time, there's a lot of things that has to be changed. And we want to know it like, at the beginning of our planning. So we knew that we need to install some testing device and then do the operation, start to get the operation like at the beginning of the planning, and then getting the crowd feedback to inform our design and planning. And at the same time we can call for tenancy and move into the construction. And after that, like we do the operation. So we call this testing device like our rethinking public relation phase. So this is the phase that like the think and think phase when we are still kind of like open to the crowd and think together. And after that, when we start doing our design and planning and construction, we call it think and think phase. Yeah. So the benefit of it is like we start setting up the address before the construction even started. And we kickstart the conversation like about the space, about what we wanted to do. And we gather the feedback like before the design and planning of the space. And the most importantly, we can um, co-produce with the public mass and engage them to start exploring like different possibility of the space. So here you go. So this is how we structure our strategy like for the building. And luckily during that time it was quite timely that like British Council also decided to fund this project because they also see the value of like having the strategy and also the plan like to be done during such an unprecedented time. And it could be something to be learned by other creative hub in Malaysia or Southeast Asia as well. So these are the testing device we decided to put into the space. So okay, so maybe just quickly go through it. Like for the testing device, we work with different art practitioner or content maker like in the of the area. So the first one is an immersive theater. Like how could we set out the viewpoint and scene based on the existing space? And every time we only allow 5 people like to come into the space. So then is we kind of in compliance with the social distancing policy. And the entire show was designed based on the SOP control, the social distancing control. So then we can also explore the spatial potential like in the theater during the new normal. So this is how you can imagine it, like people will view it from afar, and at the same time like they will move their scene, the audience will move their scene, the viewpoint as well. And the second testing device is a sign of hope. How could we design like the installation at the entrance? So it is a participatory installation. It's engaged the incomer to think upon their arrival to the space. And the moment they enter the building, they see Hop story from the neighborhood. So it's also helped to visualize the story from the neighborhood to the public. I know exactly how you feel. Empathy is hope. So this is also something that we wanted to showcase and visualize to the public. People do cares, and a lot of people were in the lockdown for a long time, and we want to like kind of not simply having them to drop by, a space without doing any interaction. And we hope that like by doing so, this is also making this entire viewing experience and contribution experience a safe one. So the third device is wish tree. So how could, because there are some people still kind of alert on the fact that like if they come to the public region, like it will bring danger to them. So we set out the omni-channel installation that will go through the online input. Yeah, so we set out the platform to engage the input, and at the same time like start like contributing toward the trees. And it is a temporary landscape, so it help us to navigate like what the car park could be in terms of the conversion. Yeah, so after a while, it's kind of populated with the message around the area. So we also tested the potential of the rooftop like sky cinema. Yeah, so the faces of the community, there were a lot of people came during the process. Of course, like from the building point of view, we were also trying to make sure that like everyone is safe, like while viewing. And at the same time, like in conjunction to the event, we were also doing our like refurbishment. So the building is like started the conversation, continue the conversation with the local craftsmanship, and also like we knew that like along the time of the lockdown, there were a lot of people basically losing their job and also like not having the chance to perform their craftsmanship. So we thought like this is actually a perfect opportunity to encourage people to engage all this conversation again. So we're collaborating with the Teaching Team Smith on turning the material that normally used for like furniture or small scale stuff into architectural use. So these are the like how do you call it? The basically the board like to put on the drawings. And we are very lucky to be in Borneo because it's in such a biodiversified area. Like you do get a wider palette of timber. So with the timber we had, we thought like, okay, how could we work with the kitchen carpentry to presenting the material beauty into the building? And of course like the mud material as well. At that point, like we also set out a series of small scale workshop. So it wasn't like in the past we can have a big group of people. With this we only allowed to have 5 because it's like in compliance with the social distancing policy. So it was a collective input. We kind of encourage people like the participants to bring the soil of their respective area, and then we test and understanding the texture and also the material potential, the properties. So this project is also now like one of the recipients of like Connection Through Culture, like research fund. So it will be still carried on. And of course, some in-house material and tectonic fund. So we experimenting with different things to set out the lighting. So with all these things like put together, like we are quite lucky because along the way we do attracted a palette of tenants, and we set out the food lab and also the art residency. So we received, I think like thus far we have 5, 6 like proposal for the art residency. Yeah, so and also the think tank, the studio collective space, and we did 2 performing like program already like thus far, and exhibition spaces and cocktail bar and cafe. So cafe is actually in progress. So to share this small story, because I also felt that like a lot of people were probably attended from different part of the world. So we put a reminder at the corner, at one of the corner of the building, at the moment of despair or the moment of victory, remember these two shall pass. So I hope that this is also a reminder for all of us to stay humble, and also to at the same time to stay positive. Yeah. So okay, so as what Fabio like introduced kindly just now, like I'm a qualifying architect, like UK RIBA and ARB. So if you're interested in looking at my past body of work, like you can go to my website wendyteo.com. Yeah, I want to like put more time on like telling you the story of what we had like from Borneo Lab. So Borneo Lab, like it was inspired by one of the concept we had in Borneo, Bajalai. So Bajalai is means like, in the past, a lot of community they kind of like stay in the secluded like forest. So within the forest, like the only way they can set out their worldview is through their the story from their fathers, from their ancestor. So that's the only way that they get their life value or the moral standards. So once in their life they have to travel a big trip. So this big trip we call it Bajalai. So in this big trip you meet people, you talk to people, and you work with them. And that's the only way that your life view, your moral value will be challenged, or like sometimes it will crush, and a lot of time it will grow. So you always come back as a better person and also a more informed person. So this concept is also something we want to infuse into the practice of Borneo Lab. So Borneo Lab, there's 4 dimensions we focus on. One is the design service. So with the design service, we get individual client, furniture brands, developer or festival bodies like as our collaborators. And in order to have more depth in the way we do things, we have the research workshop. So we also partner with education institute, and also like partner with artisan and designer to work together. And the third dimension is we also have, in order to have more breadth in the way we practice, we have the curatorial like direction and body to engage with like festival bodies, cultural agency, and NGO. So that's how like we work with British Council, or like other departments of the Sarawak government. And in order to have all this conversation being documented, we also have the publication wing. Yeah, so that's why we already have our second book release. So here is like some picture of like to show you like what we have done previously. So and today I want to focus more on like some of the selected work, talking about the participatory models and also the materiality, because it's like this talk is about like curating architecture, and I thought like I hope some of this can also like inspire you as well. So all the time we look at the things that we do. What I find is like actually we've been trying to like crafting a gathering of good people, like and or people bring their best to the table. So and with this, I want to start from a project I did like in 2019, 2020, in Guangzhou. So I was invited to go to China, Guangzhou, like to work on a building. Like so it was a building in operation, but it was a tall tower. So with this tall tower, like the curator of the museum, Bay Museum. So they were asking like, okay, whether, so they challenged the 20 architects um, around China and also overseas, like to look at the potential, the conversion potential of the buildings. Like how could we set out seemingly private building into a gallery or a place for viewing different experiences. So the area of my choosing is actually the emergency staircase. Like so I install a more than 200 meter of the blackboard and turn it into like a place can be drawn by the community. Yeah, because we also want to minimize the hindrance within the emergency staircase due to the legal requirement. So there were a time of like construction and curation, like in partnership with the school nearby and also the community nearby. And we documented the drawing process like throughout the year. So there was the time that like we partner with the students after we set out the wall. So it became a very like more than 200 meter of wall that like engaged the public input. So the private space is no longer just a space of like you know passerby, but how could we engage people to use this space more meaningfully? So apart from this kind of community like work or workshop, like we also partner with different designer and like material designer or NGO to set out project as such. So I hope the sound is working well. Okay, I'm going to play.
Borneo Lab is a multidisciplinary. Over the last 2 years, we have been working with designer, artisan, filmmakers all around the world on regional collaboration. Our base is in Pigeon City, Borneo. In this coming April, we are traveling to Singapore for our next project, Sketches Sundown Festival. We believe this is the best suited place for innovating upon the potential of plastic waste. We keep thinking about how to actually address this issue of plastic pollution. When we came across Lope and saw what they do, we just realized it was the perfect collaborative opportunity. They harvest plastic waste and use those as raw material to create a series of these hexagonal panels. We're using 400 of these plastic panels and turn them into a pavilion.
Everyone can see like the plastic that they throw, that they think it's no value. Now it has many value and very beautiful things.
I think we have to take this challenge where we have to take this material after it's being used. They don't consider it as a waste, but there is a second life, there is a third life. After the festival, the installation will be dismantled and then donated to Epic Home as constructional material. Epic Home is a non-profit organization based in Malaysia, building home for community who needs them. We believe the world is too small to be defined by one. By working together as a community, we can make a difference.
Okay. So I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's okay.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Yeah, sorry because of the technical, like, yeah, some of the things that like, so I need to unplug like the headphone in order to make the sound work for you guys. Yeah, so these are the material like outcome. So it was on the site for 1 week, and then it was dismantled and donated to the NGO that we work with. So another project that I want to bring up is the instrument in 2018. So that was the time that like I remember I just moved back to Borneo, and then the festival already approached and say like, hey Wendy, I know you are architect, like could you work with like the bamboo material of Borneo, because it's such an, you know, we have abundance of that, like, and nobody really doing anything about it. So it could be maybe a small structure, or maybe it could be a furniture. So I was quite excited about that workshop. I still remember like after sketch out like all the drawings of it, like, and approaching the local contractor, and the local contractor, I still remember that it was more like the contractor was telling me, you know what, even we have a lot of them, we have different type of bamboo, but we already lose the tradition and also the practice of doing so, despite like 2 generations before, we were still like, a lot of us were still using it a lot. But nowadays, if you want to use it, like, we probably need to kind of like travel in order to understand like how other places like were doing it, and relearn it for them, from them. Yeah, so there was a time that I realized if our group need to bring this practice back, we will need to travel, like to understand. So that year, like I traveled to Thailand, and also to Indonesia, to Taiwan, in order to understand like all the system, how it works, and like bring it back to Borneo, and also understand like how could we contextualize with our own bamboo. So we have like many types of bamboo, but those one that can be used for constructional purpose is like, the local name is Auru, Tering, and Brunei bamboo. So those are the one that we focus on. There are other bamboo is good for like instrument making. So if some of you like happen to be from like Southeast Asia, you probably heard curating. So curating is something can be made out of bamboo. So we have like a lot of that kind of bamboo. So this is why we call this project the instrument project, because it's a combination of like the musical instrument bamboo together with the percussional bamboo with the building material bamboo. Yeah. So we also partner with the local community around the area because we want to make this project the community one. And I still remember like visiting them because it's kind of like crushed with like one of their harvesting season. So we went to them like during the harvest season, and one of the kids from the area was saying that like luckily you told my like you invited our family to do it, because otherwise I wouldn't know like our palm trees can be turned into the roof. So this is also something like I want to bring out as well, because like there was a lot of like craft kind of diminishing like along the process just because people subscribe to a certain way of living or certain way of like building. So we thought like, wouldn't it be nice to kind of like, you know, showcase like what this is possible, what can it be like through a ephemeral structure as such, even the structure is still standing right now. Yeah. So that was the project that we put together, and it was celebrated by the community. So even it wasn't really a huge structure. In fact, it's huge, but then like this structure was used for the percussional purpose and also the music performances. And then the community was invited to come and see the structure, and I think it was such a nice like heartwarming feelings. Like everyone was saying, oh yeah, so we have this skill naturally. We have this skill like all along. But yeah, so that was the first bamboo project we did. So a lot of time as an architect, like knowing the industry, I knew that like a lot of time the project like or the finishing point like kind of like stop here, just because like once people get the nice images, like once architect get the nice images, we can submit it for, you know, the online platform, design boom, like it's all okay. But then we knew that like our mission and our project can't stop there, because we have bigger things to do. Like if we stop our project there, basically like the skill will be still disappear. And after relearning it from so many different communities from all around the like Asia, so we knew that we need to document it properly, put it together into the book. So this is our idea of the publication. We want to, apart from the Berjalai, we want to put our story of Berjalai into our publication. And we're not simply sharing the nice images, we also share like how we do it. And you know, most of this can be found from the hardware store. If they want to do it, like this is actually an open source for them to build it. And so we're not simply showing like the detail, we also show like how we can treat bamboo, because the moment you work with natural material, you open out the world of like basically a entire model of like, you know, from its harvesting to the treatment to its use. So we're also looking at the natural treatment and the chemical treatment of bamboo, explaining how it can be worked, it can be done, and how do we need to do it, like, and also the scale of the organization we need to work with. So this drawings is basically describing like, okay, the treatment along the river or the chemical treatment, how it can be done. So we're not simply doing it for bamboo, we also do it for rattan, for timber, for timber bark. And a lot of people thought that we are crazy. Why do we push this far to publish a book? And we felt that like it's so important for us, because it's like the entire, if we want to really do this holistically, like it has to be done. Yeah. And with the book, we also relying on the crowdfunding resources. So I will play another video. When we first planned for our first publication, Borneo Art Like That book, we thought that it has to be a book that reflects Borneo value in terms of the content, the message, the organization, or even the bookmaking itself. The book is about the practicing artists and the craftsmen around Borneo. At some point in the making process, we were in the dilemma of quality versus quantity. If we go for the handmade quality, we
wanted, it will be much more pricier and less copies than the digital prints. Luckily, we know how to see things from the flip side. If we are willing to pay more, we will be able to work with some of the really best craftsmen of our time through propagation. Everything about making a book excites us, especially good content organized with high quality. It was how our first book came out in 2017. Until today, we are quite proud with the decision we made. The book was sold out within the first month. We are also proud to notice a number of cross-regional collaboration took place via the book. In 2019, we want to make a book that will take reader on a compelling journey to discover more in depth about the Borneo innovation in art and craft. We also invited a very talented and innovative content contributor to think about the kind of innovation that we should see in the respective art field. More excitingly, we even invite them to act on it. In Design Day, we were looking at how the material in Borneo found its new life through contemporary design. In food section, we explore the diversity of jungle food culture and bring out a series of contemporary interpretation for it. In documentation part, we found a unique way to unfold Borneo landscape. We also speak about the unspeakable through an artistic perspective. In performing art, we consciously initiate more theatre project in public to set out more awareness and acceptance within the community. Looking back the last 2 years, our journey has connected us to some brave collaborators. Now we hope you are one of them too. We put this project out here because we want you to be part of the journey. With your support, we can bring this project into life and inspire more people. We do so because we know that this is the storm preceded the ripples.
So this is how we put together our crowdfunding, and it was we basically managed to secure the fund within like 2 weeks time. Yeah. So we also managed to kind of like put together the website to communicate with the public about our propagation story and update constantly about like the entire journey. Yeah. So another project that I want to go into, yeah, is the another like the second year after we did our first bamboo pavilion. Basically, we were approached by the same festival organizer again, the CEO, and then he was saying that, wow, last year the bamboo pavilion was so successful, like maybe you want to do another bamboo structure, bamboo pavilion in the city center. So we were like, if we want to, because we don't want to do the same thing twice, but if we want to do it, then we want to do it differently. So how could we do it differently? Like so we thought like it would be more meaningful if it is built by the public. So if any of you happen to been to Kuching, I don't know what is the odd like. So if any of you been to Kuching, you will know you will notice that like a lot of people when they're explaining their address, they will be like, oh yeah, I live in 2nd mile and I work in 1st mile, I hang out in 3rd mile. It all has to do with the origin point. Yeah, so that's also happened to be our site. You know, a site where like surrounded by the building from the Brooks Empire time, the British Empire time. So this is our site, and we thought like it would be quite meaningful, like if the origin is being redefined with the natural material with contemporary look. So we thought, okay, we want to recycle some of the detail we had before, but this time around we're not going to build it on our own. We're going to build it with the community. So we spend actually more time like setting out the brochure. Like, so this brochure explaining like it's we set out the goal that, okay, it has to be IKEA proof. And it's something that like can be like from as young as like 10 years old to as old as like 70 years old, they won't be afraid to look at this brochure. Yeah, so we basically put together like the structure, the details, and also the like the length like how to do it, and then some of the health and safety precaution, and also some of the like the structure that like the component that needed for the process. So after we handed like in the brochure to the participants, like the work just kind of kickstart itself. Right? And then we didn't involve so much of it. Like in fact, we were just coordinating and looking at how the community kind of set out the work, organizing it on their own. So within 2 weeks time, we saw like, okay, the frame start to happening. And it was quite nice because there were people like travel in, took their holidays, travel in order to learn how to build with bamboo material. So it was like people travel in from all around Borneo and work together on these things. So model is very helpful in this kind of community participatory model in the process as well. So if you aim to do one in the future, like do set out the model, because that is the very straightforward manner like to set out the understanding. Yeah, so within 3 weeks time, like the bamboo structure was put together, and from the bird eye view you can see like it's redefined the origin, our 0 point of Kuching. And so this is our parliament building, and that entire thing is like this is basically the city center. So we also set out a show. This is during the night view, so we have a fountain in the center. Yeah, so it is how it is looking like in the night time. Yeah, so we also set out the performing art show like after it's launched. Yeah, so there will be a video, like a small video about it like later on. So another project that I want to share with you guys is the tea house. So with this tea house, like we are working with like quite prestigious brand like on this one. So we still couldn't really name which brand is that. So there's actually a few brands. So with this project is a celebration of Kuching craftsmanship. And I still remember when we were approached by the client, like we were doing our reading retreat. So they contact us like through phone because there is Wi-Fi-less. And that was the point that I just finished a book, like the Book of Tea. And on the 4th chapter, it spoke about like why tea house is the most significant like archetype of Japanese architecture. Despite like there were like bigger structure, bigger grander like building in the Japanese like architecture DNA, and even it is the smallest of all the houses, but because of the tea master, like also what I kind of refer as the curator of the tea house, like he tend to work together with the craftsmen around the region, bring in their best to the building, to the spatial quality of it. So then the gathering elevated into something even more meaningful. So we thought we want to borrow the spirit of this into our structure. So the artistic statement of this structure is like with the message underneath, like how could we bring in a palette of experiences into the structure. So we investigated on the material potential, like the luminous timber and the structure, like and start identifying different craftsmen to work together. And we thought with this process, it's not just about like, showing our best, but also like how could we in the process like showcase like other people best along the process, so it is more meaningful, and there's a lot of like detail we develop with the carpenter, with the steel guy, like to put together. So this entire structure is actually done without any pin and bolt. Yeah, so that was the structure of it. Like, so we work with different people of different disciplines. Yeah, so there was a lot of like trick with the building. Need to scan through QR code. Like you probably wouldn't notice it. Like, but these are the things that like you have to view and view it in different manner. And so the next part that I want to bring out is the curatorial direction. So I will show you some videos. So we did like redesigning Borneo aesthetic like for 2 years, and the first year was about craft. The second year was about experiences. And for the craft, I want to show you this video. What I like about Borneo material is always constantly changing because of our climate, the constant rain, and also the exposure of sunlight. For example, the yam is continuously changing its texture. They're very strong. They're also very persistent as well. Borneo craft at the moment is pretty much underexplored. If we want to move further, I think there is a lot of conversation ought to take place. Either it is from within or like coming from outside to come in. Again, they always use bamboo, but how about like using bamboo in Borneo to look at the potential of like merging bamboo with tin? If you look at her work, there's a lot of like very region-specific lacquer use. How could that lacquer like bring to Borneo and then use on the craft over here? One, tongue and cheek, they are quite playful in whatever they do. There's a lot of association with how could they mix different materials together. Julian, the founder of We Artisan Society, and how could he working with the Indonesia Kalimantan craftsmen and to bring it over to share the expertise with Rata maker around Kuching. Wilson from Private Tree, one of the most prestigious timber workshop of Taiwan. So he will work with like the Liang timber over here. Kang from Pivoi Studio, he look at like timber bark to put timber bark in spatial use rather than just stay on the decorative level. 6 designers from Thailand and Taiwan, within 20 days, they have to bring out the conversation between their respective region and Borneo.
Like you have a lot of people, like different nationality in one city, different food, different languages. Chinese people, Malayu people, and indigenous people, they mix together.
不同的族群，然后交流之后出现出了新的事物，我觉得这是一件很特别的一件事。
The identity of the group of people is really impact me, and I feel that they can live together. And they like a friend and family. It's quite interesting for us to see that. Very interesting for us. Like you guys already blend in everything together. It's a lot of different group of people, and also this kind of thing I want to bring this together to keep it product. I be blacker from Thailand. It's just like a bit to put two things that looks totally different. I mean wood and broken ceramics. But the material that's very interesting that I found here is timber and Brilliant timber.
我使用的木头是比莲是一个比较坚硬的木头，它本身的纹理方向是交错的。
We think it's definitely beautiful wood, but it could be more than just more than like big piece of furniture.
一般家具是比较方正的，然后我想比较做比较细致的，有很多线条上面是需要比较多手工的部分。
We wanna introduce the new way of this to be more like a small object. People can easily touch and like feel the materials. The concept of movement is from just dance, which is a traditional dance of Iban's people. We try to reinterpret in our ways like the past and future together.
One of the local indigenous community, which is called Kenya, they practice a farming technique called sweeting. They would cut down a small area of the forest, and then they would grow their food there for a few years. And then after that, they would move on. Just before they leave, they would plant that in order to rehabilitate the damaged forests. Besides being a material that you can use for making furniture, objects. Rattan have this amazing ability to heal damaged forests, and that is something I found really, really amazing and a really important idea I wanted to integrate into the project for Rainforest Food Festival.
用这个材料，然后让观者来看的时候可以感受到，其实这是你们当地的树皮。那我希望他们可以感受到早期他们可能在住在厂部的时候，盖屋顶的时候，他们也是会用到树皮这种材料，就让大家回忆那一段。那其实我来当地的时候才发现，其实这个树皮其实很不容易找，不管是投在土地，就是有很多热带雨林，为什么会这个材料会就是没有一直被
We have a chance to work with Smith people, and we work with Uncle Ho. He told us about he has like 3 sons, 1 daughter, but no one want to do things anymore.
The owner of this large remaining rattan shop, he mentions that 10 years ago, where we are now in Jalan Bishopsgate, there used to be quite a few rattan makers, rattan sellers. But nowadays, this is the last remaining rattan shop.
I think one of the challenge of Borneo craft scene at the moment is like people always perceive that you're not doing lawyer, architect, or doctor, then you're not doing well. These craftsmen, they would rather to give up their skill, and it's a huge problem.
Encourage or sharing inspire together to engage young and senior one. That is really important to keep continue this.
Next generation have to see what they have and develop and evolve for the future.
希望这些工艺不要消失，那我觉得他们可以继续保留下来，然后继续做更多的变化。
To step outside of our comfort zone and to reimagine what this material can do.
By doing so, it will bring in more awareness and also the local people interested in asking the question, like, what can we bring to the table? So after 20 days, like this is what came out from the workshop, from the research. Yeah, so the this confessional room made out of the timber bark and also the wood chip, like tasty timber, and the language of the rattan, and then the second series of the redesigning Bornean aesthetic, like we started looking at the experiences. So with this one, it's also another video.
As a design practitioner, a lot of time we seem to think that we need to look outward in order to achieve better. But over the last few years, what I realized is we can actually crafting the future through looking at our origin.
Borneo as the home to the richest rainforest in the world, so it has these opportunities to offer unlike anywhere else.
A destination that you can always keep going to and discover so many amazing aspects.
The climate provides the perfect conditions to grow the most fragrant plants and precious timbers.
That was how we started redesigning Bornean experience by looking at landscape through different aspects.
Namely the see, taste, smell, and lastly read.
How can we innovate upon all these findings that can trigger more ripples?
We want to take these traditional crafts into a contemporary expression.
We can only go beyond tradition to another state of perfection.
With the landscape, we have less work, a range of value that we can use, but not necessarily everyone exposed to the knowledge. Last year festival, we did a pavilion, wonder of this size, but this year we actually did it like twice as fast. What we did attached to them in the future. We know they will bring it on. Traditionally, all these bamboo and atap, they were used for the constructional purpose, but sadly, there is not so much documentation over it.
There is a hemorrhage of knowledge. The number of edible seeds out there that we just don't know how to anymore. Taste is something that should be simple. Somewhere along the line, we made it complicated. I found so many ingredients that are actually thrown away. And by doing that, we threw away part of our tradition. Plating the Wild is really going back and relearning how to taste. So I actually looked for the discarded and the imperfect. If we stay in the jungle, I think we will discover new things.
It is so vast that unknown habitats are discovered, even till today. One of the most fascinating plants that I am investigating here is agarwood. The agarwood tree is one of the most precious aromatic material in the world today. It's very rare to find an essential oil candle that is made of precious oils such as agarwood or linseed. By tracing the scent back to its origin, we can peer into a region's past, present, and future. Now, hopefully, the nature will be the ultimate beneficiary for this act of awareness. The laboratory book is the second publication in a series of 5. It's a project we've been working on for the past 18 months. We collaborated with creative people in Borneo to come up with this documentation on amazing projects. At Borneo Laboratory, we want to reimagine, redesign, and redefine our local narrative.
What we want to do, trying to do this year is like, how can we also pass down like whatever we have learned in the process?
We want to show them the possibilities and also inspire them to start a new conversation on Borneo art and culture.
Let our imagination and not really the
The spirit of collaboration is always at the core of Borneo land.
So this is a top view shot with the drone. So during the opening day,
We almost cannot hear you, Wendy, because we are hearing the video. You should.
what I wanted to say was like actually that view was shot with the drone, and then we have 60 people came around Borneo to celebrate the event, and then each of the light point is actually the one person holding the candle, like to lead out the origin. So yeah, I think the body of work, like we're not limiting the body of work to just like just architectural discourse, but as you can see, it's like we should be able to see ourselves, like parking ourselves like in the wider context, in the wider creative practice, which is also something that like I kind of like miss when I was in the corporate like environment. Well, but I think like of course we kind of like see ourselves in the industry, but I think like in the bigger environment, in the bigger in the creative industry or creative like ecosystem is something that we kind of see ourselves like and wanting to contribute about. Yeah, so lastly, I also want to show you some of the work in progress. And this is a project that is actually currently like we are doing the campaign right now. So it was inspired by El País, like one of the articles like in October. So it was kind of like circulating around. I bet like most of you have seen it as well. It has to do with like the COVID-19, like in the space, like how could we redesigning our spaces and also like introducing more natural ventilation, because it's less likely people will get infected like in the natural ventilated space. So we thought, you know what, in our tropical environment, like in Borneo, a lot of people hang out in the shopping mall. Yeah, yeah, because of the air conditioned space. I bet like a lot of you, like maybe from tropical area, you also have the impression that like most of the time like people would rather like to stay indoor. So how could we introducing like more outdoor DNA, outdoor hangout spaces for people. So with our building, like we also propose to have like, okay, two structure that is totally outdoor, and then like partner with edible garden, partner with like the cafe next to inside our building, like to create more hangout spaces. And at the same time, like we want to engage the, oops. So this is we are running right now, like currently, literally, like actually we only released the video like 2 days ago. So we are partnered with 10 different locations around the city. So it's a city-wide event. And like so recently we are going to have like Lunar New Year's. So everyone celebrating Lunar New Year's, and a lot of time like they will consume the plastic bottle and then contributed to a large search of like waste. So how could we repurpose all this waste into planters? So we will. This is the visual like for the space we want to have. Yeah, and also another part is the rooftop garden. Yeah, so how could we repurpose all these plastic bottles? Like we aim to collect like 1,500 plastic bottles to repurpose them. So like we are lucky for the last few years is that we have really visionary people to work with, and our favorite quote is goes like this: is that if you want to go fast, go along. If you want to go far, go together. So yeah, if you're interested in knowing more, this is our website, borneoartcollective.org. Yeah, so and if you're interested in collaboration, send in your proposal or portfolio. Like we don't know how we can do it, but we're more than happy to investigate a digital version of collaboration. Yeah. So that's it for my presentation today.
Thank you, Wendy. It was really wonderful. Even though the online version doesn't work with this celebration at the end, but it's okay. You can feel it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I have a couple of questions in chat. I don't know if someone wants to ask her, Wendy, a question using her microphone.
Yes.
You can unmute yourself, and maybe you can stop sharing, Wendy, so we can see.
Okay, so I can see what is okay. Yes, here you go.
Yeah, perfect.
Wow, now I see all the faces.
Yeah.
I hope all of you are well and safe.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you for your presentation. It's really good to see your work. So at IAAC here, there's a huge diversity of interests and skills. You know, we have the program that I am part of, that some of us here with the camera, we're part of the kind of like we're based in the mountains next to the city. We're thinking about ecological buildings, but then there's also other programs focused on robotics, focused on kind of Arduino stuff, like really a wide variety of interests. And so I think a question that might be appropriate for everyone is that clearly you have this huge holistic way of engaging design, and you're able to touch on all different kinds of ideas and people and stakeholders. And I wonder how you see the role of the designer today, like, and how has you as an architect kind of equipped you to deal with these problems, or maybe what else did you need beyond your design skills in order to work in this way?
I think it's a really good question, because I think we can also review this question or review the context of where we are in, like in different region, like in terms of the development of design, development of architectural industry. Yeah, because it's like if you look at like the industry in certain area, they are already more like advanced, in an advanced state of like this becoming a very, how do you say, like specialized like industry. But there are some places, it's like I would say quite a lot of different parts in Asia, like still in the face of like, yeah, since the World War II, like they subscribe to a certain like ideology, like the architectural ideology, like modernism. So it's ended out like assimilation happened. Yeah, so a lot of craftsmen ended out like have no place to contribute. So I think as a designer, like as an architect, like I felt that we need to cope with that kind of situation with a very different mentality than the kind of mentality we have, let's say in a more advanced state of like the industry. Because a lot of time, like if we just ended out like, you know, subscribing to certain way of like working, or allowing only certain ideology happen in the mainstream, it will end out like you know, marginalizing what we used to be good at. And I think that is very dangerous. There's a very dangerous like path to go down to, because it's we are not simply talking about so-called the craftsmanship, but also the way of thinking, the way of living, the way of like the belief system. And by bringing that back, like slowly one by one, I think it's actually a very empowering, incremental device to showcase, to encourage the community. So I felt that like the designer, like in, let's say in Borneo or in Malaysia, in Southeast Asia, actually has a bigger task. Yeah, has more role to kind of perform on, rather than just stay on a specific like specialized role in the industry. I hope it makes sense. You see what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Fatima, do you prefer me to read your question? Okay, no, go ahead.
Hello, Wendy. Nice
Hi.
to meet you. I'm Fatima
Nice to meet
from
you.
Iran, and I really appreciate your projects. My question is, which platforms have you used for crowdfunding? I understood one of them is Kickstarter. And I want to know how you accompany people who virtually track your process to participate in your projects. Thank you.
Thank you. So with the Kickstarter, right? Okay, because we have a range of like crowdfunding like platform to choose from. Like for example, Kickstarter is one of them, probably the most known one as well, and Indiegogo, and also in Malaysia there were a few platforms that we can use. But I think like what Kickstarter offer is basically, okay, is you either got the fund to do it, or you don't do it at all. Yeah, so with Indiegogo is more like, okay, you can just kind of like whatever you accumulate along the process, you can still go. Let's say if you only accumulated 50%, 40%, you can still do it. So with Kickstarter, it's like I think it's quite crazy because it's like, even let's say if you got it to 90% and then you didn't reach the 100%, right, then you wouldn't be able to get it. So I think it's kind of showcase the determination, and this is also what we want as well. We either do it or we don't do it. We do it well or we don't. Yeah. So I think this is also the kind of message we want to put to the public as well. We use Kickstarter for that, and we only set like 1 month. We know like there are people set the length of time to 90 days or half a year, but we felt that, like, you know what, if the community want to be with us, they have to be with us from day one. Yeah, so I think it's kind of give them a sense of urgency to subscribe to the project or to support us. And we felt that crowdfunding is actually a very important skill to have nowadays. I don't know how you feel about it, especially like if you are kind of outside that triangle, the golden triangle of like client, contractor, consultant triangle. You should be able to get your own resources, because you want to be like more liberated from that the constraint, the limitation, your submissive role in that triangle. And I think Kickstarter or the crowdfunding enable that, because we no longer require to kind of like, you know, bow down to like authority or to like financial authority, like to in order to push the conversation. We are basically the master of our destiny in that sense, but at the same time it could be quite helpless, like when you don't see the progress. And I think these are the skill I think the new generation of like designer, or you know, or the contemporary designer ought to have. Yeah, so when you say, when the second question is more like how do you accompany people who virtually track your process to participate in the project? Understood. Okay, so actually we, for people who, if they manifest, only if they tell us they've been like, you know, accompany us, or like wanted to be part of us, like in the process, of course, like we will pay an eye to that, because it's like for a long time, like when I was still working in UK, like in 2017, we spent a long time online, and so we kind of like got to know how to kind of like you know, to be the radar of like what is going on the other side of the world. Back in the days, it was like, you know, Borneo in respective to UK. So yeah, like we are quite sensitive to that, but because of the crowd now expanded to a wider scale, so of course, like we have, like for example, with our website, we have this collaboration proposal. So enable people to submit their proposal if they're interested in working together. So just like recently we posted, because we started to plan that building since November. So it was only like 3 months, 2 months, 3 months of working. So within that 3 months time, like one of the, I think it was in December, we posted the picture of our like art residency, because that time it was just about to finish. So then like we received like some proposal already, like from our website, from our social media, the Facebook or the Instagram. So that was how we kind of track the, you know, there are people interested in working together. But if you think there's more way of doing so, please suggest, because we don't know what we don't know. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Fatima.
Thank you.
I don't know if the other question was from Ignacio. If Ignacio prefers to read it.
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you, Fabio. Hello, Wendy. I'm Ignacio. I'm from Mexico. And yeah, I think Fatima kind of asked the second question, something that I was wondering to know about how you follow up this craftsmanship process after you finish the object, the architectural object or the design object, and how have you perceived maybe if their perspective towards their profession is changed, or how the conversation changes after being involved in this process, and not just in that side, but also now after these questions you already answered, how the other side, like how the image you project from Borneo through this new kind of aesthetic, have you find some changes in the perspective of people from before this aesthetical process and after that, how people react to that?
Oh, definitely. I think it's also like, maybe I can also put like answer the first question, because I think that is very important. Like while doing this kind of project, there is a community dimension. There is a dimension of like working with people. So obviously, like I have to say, most of the craftsmen we work with, we already been working together consecutively for more than 2-3 years. So we like on a personal level, we know the changes along the process and also their transition. And some of them, they used to be super skeptical, like, oh, what are you trying to do? Why are you asking this kind of like, very bespoke structure, and then nobody knows what to use with it, how to use with it. So I think like along the process, when they see, I think it was quite powerful, like 2018 when we did the redesigning Borneo craft, like because we put together we also have a room dedicated to showcase the video. We film with the footage from the community. So the kids from the neighborhood came as well, and some of the adult kids of these craftsmen, they came over and they saw the video. And I think like that was also, if I can go back in time, I really want to know like, yeah, but I think this is also the moment you knew like is making changes. It start like like the like the chemical reaction started to happen, and then more attention brought into the community toward this specific area. Like, and also more all of a sudden, like you start to see like in the news, in the media, like there are people like start looking at what is going on. And I would say like it's not simply toward the material craftsman, but also like, let's say for the fine dining event that we put together, rather than saying fine dining, I think it's more like showcasing the Borneo ingredient we had. And I remember vividly, like when we were doing that, like there were some naysayer was saying, you know what, like nobody really seeing Kuching as the fine dining like destination or the food destination. So but the moment we showcase like the kind of like Borneo diversity can offer to our ingredient palette, and the event actually was quite successful. 120 places totally booked out within 2 weeks, and the event was featured with the light of like the media. And then the next year, what I heard was in 2020, like what I heard was like there was some like chef, either the master chef or the chef like already moved back to Kuching, and they wanted to start their own practice here, but then they faces COVID. Yeah, but I think that's the history. But it's also something that we knew like we can work with, like with the building we had. So I think like with this, right, I really felt that like let's say with the material craft, with the craftsmen that we work with, we need to definitely follow up. And like with the 2018 conversation we had like in the public, is like the moment we went back to the community, and I see, because it was a street, it's a Bishop Gate street, and then like people would, they are quite welcoming, and then they will tell us, yeah, all of a sudden there is a lot of custom made like requests or commission happen in the area. Normally they were asked to, they were required to do like like fragmented or small pieces. But nowadays, like all of a sudden there's a lot of like requests and demand, and we felt that there's also a good transition, like, and more designer wanting to test with this kind of like craftsmanship innovation, and we are quite happy with that as well. Yeah. and different approach toward the craftsmanship or the perception of Borneo, isn't it? And I think like before we were doing all this thing, I think like a lot of these things are actually under the radar, because only when you live with the community, when you are here, you know what is going on, you know who are talented. But a lot of time, like maybe it also has to do with the attribute of the community. People are quite I think like if any of you like from Malaysia, like a lot of, if any of you from Malaysia, you would know that like, okay, the Peninsula Malaysia is more like the extroverted side of Malaysia, and the Borneo side of Malaysia is more like the introverted. It's also reflecting on people as well. Personally, I'm also an introvert. Like, yeah, so that is also the part that like I think this is also why it's for a long time it's kind of went under the radar. Yeah. So all the sudden, like with all this project, but we found, I think as introvert, you have to find your own way of communication, and our way is to put together publication, something we're more comfortable with, writing, and also like setting out the video or building patiently. Yeah. So that is also our way of like communicating with the crowd, and all the sudden is getting the attention of like of course like a lot of like collaborator, a lot of good people, they want to collaborate and they want to do something together. So yeah, that is our way of like we do notice a big difference. Yeah.
Well, I think we are about to close the conference, the lecture. Also because we want to let sleep before the sunshine, you know there.
Yeah, you're about to see the.
Yeah. I mean, I want to thank you again for the awesome and very interesting presentation. It was very, very fascinating. And yeah, we're all very happy to be here. And I hope we can establish some kind of conversation after this. So we will manage. I mean, if you did everything that all those kind of experiences and so on in the middle of COVID, we will find a way to do something. So
yes, definitely, definitely. Yeah, and stay positive, stay smiling, everyone. Yeah, it's an unprecedented time. Yeah, not easy, but I think like, yeah, it's also a good collective reset moment for all of us to rethink. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, Wow.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thanks a lot.
Bye bye.
Thank you.